everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 1 English lesson on action verbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca, with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing grade 1. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of action verbs. All right. So our chapter is action verbs. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 1. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of action verbs. And the lessons is to complete the sentence with a verb to match a picture. So that is going to be the first one. And then we are also going to complete action verbs or identify action verbs. So that is going to be our lessons for today. We're going to complete the sentence with the verb to match the pictures, and we're going to identify action verbs. So that is going to be our lessons for today under our chapter of action verbs. All right. So when it comes to action verbs, right? So an action verb or action verbs, let's say action verbs, not an action verbs. Action verbs, it describes an action that takes place. So we can say an action verb, it describes an action and if you look at specific words, right, that are action verbs. So we can say an action verb describe actions and we're going to say such as, or let's say examples of action verbs are to cry, that's an action verb. To eat, that's an action verb. When I jump, it's an action verb because it's a doing word. To kick, because it's something that I'm doing. Run, play, to smile, and even to think, that is an action verb. So these are but a few examples of action verbs. And we said an action verb, it describes an action. And now the question is, who does the action? Either a person or an animal does an action. So these are but a few examples of action verbs. So even you doing something, like for example, if you are listening to what I'm saying, that is an action verb. Listen, it's something that you're doing. The fact that I am talking, this is an action verb. I talk. If you're sad and you cry, that is an action verb. If whoever is maybe eating or snacking on something, that is an action verb. Because it either describes or it tells us the action that you're doing, something that you're doing. To jump, to kick a ball, to throw a ball, to catch a ball, to run and to play, even to smile or cry is an action verb. Because an action verb, it describes an action. And then we made a few examples of action verbs. And we said an action verb is words like cry, eat, jump, kick, run, play, smile, or think. And once again, someone or something that does an action, people do actions. An animal does an action. So the subject is in the person or the animal that is doing something. Right? And if you can think of more examples of action verbs, then please let me know. Action verbs, actions that someone or something is doing. All right, so now I'm going to write down a few sentences, right? And then you're going to tell me what the action verb is within that sentence. Just simple ones. All right. So now I'm going to write down some sentences, and then you're going to tell me what the action verb is within those sentences. I'm just waiting for this thing to open. All right, let me write it out. So the first one is you're going to tell me what the action verb is within the sentence. And the first one says, he is brushing his teeth. What is the action verb within that sentence? It says he is brushing his teeth. What is the action verb within that sentence? He is brushing his teeth. What is the action that he is doing? If you look at the sentence in blue, he is brushing his teeth. What is the action verb within that sentence? Another sentence is, she is eating lunch. What is our action verb within that sentence? So we need to identify the action verb, the action that somebody's doing, the doing thing. The next one is, Jason is sleeping on the couch. What is the action verb within that sentence? The next one is, Kim is speaking on the phone. So we need to identify the action verbs within that sentence. And the last one is, Miss Nadine is teaching the students. If we look at that 5 sentences, we need to identify the action verbs within the sentence. And remember, we said that the action verbs is the action or the things that the subject is doing, which is the person or the thing or the animal is doing. So, what is the action within that sentence? The first one says, he is brushing his teeth. The second one says, she is eating lunch. The third one is, Jason is sleeping on the couch or on the sofa. The fourth one is, Kim is speaking on the phone. And then the last one is, Miss Nadine is teaching the students. What is or are the action verbs within that sentence or sentences? And if we were to identify the action verb within the sentences, right? Starting by the first one. Oh, sorry. So if we were to identify the action verb within the first one, we can say he is brushing his teeth. So the action verb would be brushing. That is something that he's doing. Brushing is the action. The next one says she is eating lunch. And if we were to identify the action verb within that sentence, we can say eating is the action verb within that sentence. And if you look at the third one, it says Jason is sleeping on the couch. So action verb is sleeping. That is something that Jason is doing. Sleeping. The fourth one is Kim is speaking on the phone. And if we were to identify the action verb, then we can say it is speaking. And the last one says Miss Nadine is teaching the students. And if we were to identify the action verb, then we can say teaching. Yes, sleeping is the action verb over there. So well done. Yes, I'm sleeping. So sleeping is your action verb. Well done. So sleeping is your action verb. All right, so these are but a few examples of our action verbs. So now we're going to a+students.ca, and we're going to complete the sentence with the verb to match the picture. So we're going to complete the sentence with the verb to match the picture. So we're going to look at the picture, and then we're going to identify the verb. So complete the sentence to match the picture. All right. And if we look at that picture, right? Or before we go to the picture, so before we go to the picture, we said that a verb, it describes the action that is being done, or we can say a verb, it tells you what a person, animal, or thing does. It's the action that the person, animal, or thing does or is doing. Yes, teaching, well done. That is the action that Miss Nadine is doing. And if we look at these two sentences, it says, the cat jumps. The cat jumps. What is the action verb within that sentence? The cat jumps. We need to identify the action verb, and it says the cat jumps. So jumps or jumping or jump specifically is the action verb. And the next sentence is we play. So what is the action verb within that sentence? It says we play. We need to identify the action verb within that sentence. And if we identify the action verb, we say play. Because what are you doing? What are the kids doing? What are the friends doing? What are the boys doing? What are the girls doing? We play. So play is our action verb. So now we're going to look at the picture, right? And then we are going to identify, or we are going to complete the sentence to match the sentence to match the picture. So we're going to look at the picture, and then we're going to tell, or we're going to write down the word or the verb that tells us what the person in the picture is doing. And if we look at this picture, this man is busy doing something to an apple. What is he doing? The man, the apple. What is he doing with the apple? So we need to say what the chef or this man is doing with the apple. If you look at the picture, what is he doing with the apple? All right. And if we were to say what the person is doing, then we can say the man cuts the apple. And cuts is the verb that's telling us what the man or the chef is doing. But what is the man doing? Remember the action verb. It's like asking us what is the man doing. So we need to say what the man is doing. That is the action verb. All right. If you go to the next one, where we are going to match the sentence with the picture. It says, complete the sentence to match the picture. Ella, what is Ella doing? Look at what Ella is doing. What is she doing? What is Ella doing? And if we look at that sentence or if we look at the picture, then we can say Ella runs. What is Ella doing? She runs, right? That is the action that Ella is doing, runs. And let's look at the next one. If we look at the two pictures, it says the boys some cake. What are they doing? The boys some cake. So what are the boys doing? The boys some cake. We need to say what the boys are doing. All right, and if we were to say what the boys are doing, and then we can say the boys eat some cake. So the boys eat some cake. So eat is our action verb within that sentence. So we need to say what the person or people, things are doing. So here we can say that the boys are eating, as you can see, they're eating cake. All right, so now we're going to our test where we are going to complete the sentence with a verb to match the picture. So if we look at the picture, so we first go into our test. It says we need to complete the sentence to match the picture. So we need to look at the picture first. All right, so now it says Brad and Sarah. Do we say they play? Do we say they cry? Option two. Do we say they skip? Option three. Or do we say they jump? Option four. Which one is correct? So if we look at it says Brad and Sarah. Do we say they play? Option one. Do we say they cry? Option two. Do they skip? Option three. Or do they jump? Option four. And if we were to identify or to select the action verb, and then we can say, oopsie, we can say Brad and Sarah play. So what is Brad and Sarah doing? They play, right? So they play. All right. And if we were to identify the action, and then we can say play. So well done. Play is correct. Let's look at the next one. They are looking up in the sky where we see an airplane flying in the sky. It says Nate and airplane. I'm sorry, Nate and Gabby. Sorry. Nate and Gabby, do we say take an airplane? Do they see an airplane, shout an airplane, plane, or touch an airplane? Look at Nate and Gabby. Do we say they take an airplane? All right. And if we look at the picture, and then if we were to identify the action verbs, it says Nate and Gabby take an airplane, Nate and Gabby see an airplane, they shout an airplane, or they touch an airplane. Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct one, we would say Nate and Gabby see an airplane. And C is correct. Well done. We need to complete the sentence to match the picture. If we look at this picture, what do you think they're doing in this picture? So yes, well done. Play is correct. Now we look at this one. It says the girl. Do we say the girl naps? The girl hides? The girl sings? Or the girl draws? So the girl, do we say the girl naps? Do we say the girl hides? The girl sings or the girl draws? What is the action verb that we can see within the sentence? And if we were to select the action that the girl does, and then we can say the girl hides. Because now it's like she's playing hide and seek. So we can say the girl hides and somebody is looking for her. And if we look at this picture, what do you think the boy is doing? It says he draws a bike, he rides a bike. Do we say he sleeps a bike? Or do we say he buys a bike? We need to say what the boy did. All right. And if we were to look at the picture, then we can say he, which is the boy, and we can say he rides a bike. And rides is correct. Let's look at the last one. And if we look at the words, it says the children. What do you think the children are doing? The children, they wash the dog, option one. They miss the dog, option two. They walk the dog, option three. Or they sing the dog, option four. And if we look at the action verb, it says the children, and we can say wash the dog because that is the action that the kids are doing, and wash is correct. So now we're going to identify action verbs. We already identified verbs with the sentences. Now we're just going to identify the action verbs. right. And if we look at, remember, we're now identifying the action verbs, and we're going to identify the action verbs within our sentences specifically, right? And remember, we said that a verb, it tells you what a person, animal, or thing does. It's the action that he or she did, right? And it says, man, my friend kicks the big ball. What is the action verb within that sentence? My friend kicks the big ball. And if we were to choose the correct option, we would say kicks. And that is our action verb. All right, so now we're going to our test. Where we are going to find the verb. And it says, the balloon pops. The balloon pops. What is the verb within that sentence? It says, is it the balloon, or is it the? Is it balloon, or is it pops? And if we were to select or identify the action verb, we can say the balloon pops. So pops is our action verb within that sentence. Pops. The next one says, the car stops. The car stops. And if we were to select or find the verb, then we can say, is it option one, the, option two, car, or option three, stops? And we can say stops is the action verb within that sentence. All right, great ones. This is the end of our lesson on action verbs. We said an action verb, it describes an action that takes place, and a person, animal, or thing does an action. So this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade ones. I really hope that you're going to have a good day further. Goodbye.